Good evening. This is your friend Dr. Faz with Today with Dr. Faz. Today I have a guest who's a good friend of mine. He is an honor Toastmasters for last 4 years. I was watching his growth from the day first. Currently, he is a president of Picket Post Toastmasters Club. He's a talent acquisition leader and an aspiring youth leader for the underserved communities. So today we are going to have a chat with him. Let's get him to know. And I would like to showcase him because he is the rising star in our community as a speaker, as a leader. So let's welcome, along with me, let me help to welcome my friend Ramon Reyes.
Hey, Dr. Faz.
Hi, Ramon. Thanks for coming on my show. I am truly honored for that, and I'm glad to have you here.
Thanks
So,
for having me.
oh, it's my pleasure. So, how the things are with you nowadays?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Started out a little slow. I
Hmm.
had to adjust to the pandemic, but
Yeah.
everything's good now, thankfully.
Okay. So, tell me a little bit for our viewers who, if most of the people they know you, but this show will be watched also overseas too. I have a lot of friends there, and they watch my show very regularly. So, tell me, who is Ramon Reese? Give some,
Oof.
yeah, give a little icebreaker on that. Who you are?
Who's Ramon Reyes? Great question. Well, I am originally from New York City. I was born in Brooklyn, was
Hmm.
raised in the Bronx, New York, the South Bronx. I moved to Philadelphia when I was around 13, going
Hmm.
on 14, and I've been in the area since.
Hmm.
Toastmaster for 4 years, as you mentioned. Been loving it ever since I started, so I'll keep going. I'm also a talent acquisition slash recruiter for an engineering firm called IPS, Integrated Project Services. We're an engineering firm for the biotech life sciences industry, and we're actually a pretty global company.
Oh,
So we
great.
have, yeah. So that's a little bit about myself in a nutshell.
Yeah. So, how was your childhood?
My childhood, ooh, well, I was raised in New York City, and I would say it was tough. It was tough, definitely in the rough neighborhoods.
Hmm.
When I would stay in Brooklyn with my godparents, they were in Brownsville, New York, close to East New York, just one of the tougher neighborhoods in New York
Hmm.
City. I also
Hmm.
grew up in the South Bronx, right
Hmm.
near Hunts Point,
Hmm.
uh, and where is another really tough area. But honestly, it was a blessing
Okay,
growing up
that's good.
poor, growing up tough, because it made me who I am today. It's helped me get that grit and determination that I have today, and I can't complain.
So, what kind of a student you were? Like introvert, extrovert, bright, dumb? So many qualities.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I was definitely an introvert.
Hmm.
Some would say that I was super shy.
Mm.
Um, so, yeah, believe it or not, I was shy growing up. I was a good student when I was younger. Was a good student throughout my entire life. My mom was fortunate to be strict on us with school, and I was one of the few who actually listened to her.
Okay. Mm.
so so I was a decent student. I didn't attend the best schools. They were all public schools,
Hmm.
rough neighborhoods.
Hmm.
So I didn't get the proper education.
Hmm.
And I learned that when I went to college. I knew right away, oh my God, I am in big trouble. My public schools
Hmm.
and my neighborhoods did not prepare me for it, but it is what it is. There's plenty of people in school and at the universities that are willing to help, and I sought every help that I could, and that's how I was able to make it here today.
Did you choose by yourself your subjects, or like to pursue your education, or somebody else influenced you?
That's a great question. So at first, it was my mom. My mom was really hard on us with school,
Hmm.
and which is great. And but when I got to high school, what really drove me to get into education and really take my education serious was baseball.
Ah.
I always had a love for the game of baseball, and I knew that if I wanted to make it to the professional ranks, I had to get good grades because I didn't have the talent to just get drafted out of high school. I had to go and play college baseball. And
Mm.
I learned that my freshman year. I learned it the hard way. My freshman year in high school, I was not the best student, like C's, B's and C's, which wasn't great. And I was hanging around with the wrong crowd, trying to get pretty much I was trying to get girls. And I learned the hard way that's probably not the best thing,
Mhm.
especially in schools. And my high school baseball coach told me, "Hey, Ramon, you gotta get your grades up. You have a chance to play college baseball, and you're not gonna be able to play college baseball without good
Mhm.
grades." And ever since he told me that, I started putting more effort towards it
Mhm.
and was able to get a scholarship to play baseball and go from there.
So, where did you meet your sweetheart?
Ooh, that's a
Yeah,
good question.
yeah,
So my wife and I, we were actually July 9th is going to be 4 years that we've been married.
wow,
It's going to be 4 years, and we're going to be going on 7 years that we've been together.
wow. Mm.
I was on a company trip with my previous company, and it was a Phillies game. And afterwards, there's a bar area in the Phillies stadium
Mhm.
downstairs. Well, they used to be called McFadden's at the ballpark.
Mhm.
And we went there after the game to get drinks.
Mhm.
My wife was singing on stage. So immediately, I'm pretty mesmerized by the way she looks, the way
Wow.
how she can sing, right?
Mhm.
And when she was done singing,
Mhm.
she made her way to the bar area, and I essentially kind of stalked her. I followed her to the bar area, was there, and I had a couple drinks to make sure that I built up some liquid courage, what I like to call, to go talk to her. And finally, my friend that was with me had told me, "Hey, Ramon, just go and talk to her, dude. I know you want to talk to her. Just go and talk to her." So I
Mhm.
went over, started talking to her. We talked for about 30 minutes
Mhm.
and got her number, and it was history from there. Yeah,
So you mesmerized by her singing quality, or
everything, Dr. Fazz,
okay,
everything,
it was a full
everything.
package.
And it helped, yes, and it helped that when she was singing, her
Ah,
friend
yes,
introduced her and said she was from New York. So that was just
yeah,
a cherry on top.
yes. Now she is a lucky girl because I know you for a few years, and I know how bright you are. So she's truly a lucky girl too. So, but tell me a little bit about why did you choose human resources or recruiting part?
It's a great question. Recruiting, which is a part of human resources, actually chose me, right? And that's how I like to call it. I kind of got lucky. So
Mhm.
like with most people after college, I was lost, didn't know what to do. I was actually working at a Mercedes-Benz car dealership,
Mhm.
and but I was a lot attendant.
Mhm.
I was the person driving the cars to get maintenance, to get
Mhm.
cleaned back
Mhm.
and forth.
Mhm.
I did that. I did that my 5th year in college because I needed to work plus go to school.
Mhm.
In my 4 years, I played baseball. I had to
Mhm.
5 years. It took me 5 years to graduate. And then I just kept doing it. And for about another year, just sticking with it until I found something. But what I kept doing was I kept on trying new things. I actually got into one of those network marketing
Mm-hmm.
is where you pay to join and to
Mm-hmm.
recruit people to join. I was selling uniforms for a friend of mine's. I was
Mm-hmm.
baseball lessons. I was actually coaching college baseball as well on
Okay.
top of all that.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I wouldn't settle to just being a lot attendant. Finally, I caught a break. There was a friend of mine, well, he used to be a friend of mine, who was who I taught his kid. And he was trying to recruit me to be a baseball coach for a summer league. And I kept telling him, man, I don't have the time. I'm too busy with all these things that I'm juggling. But what I did was say, well, I know that you are going to be coaching the summer team.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going to need new uniforms. I started trying to get him to buy uniforms for me, and I kept
Mm-hmm.
following up. And then I tried to get him to sign up with my network marketing agency
Mm-hmm.
so that I can potentially earn money under him, with him being under me. And I kept on following up with him with that as well. Finally, one day he goes, "Hey, Ramon, have you ever thought about recruiting?" I was like, "What's that?" I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The only recruiting I know was for sports. I didn't know you can actually get paid to recruit people. And then he started explaining to me, no, what you do is you recruit people for companies and they'll pay you a fee.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that sounds great. And from there on, it's been hysteria since. So I'm lucky. It wasn't easy. I got it because I was persistent with the right person. I didn't even know he would be a key to my career, my life that I have today. But I'm thankful that I was persistent. And yeah, I'm thankful for it.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your journey with the Toastmasters. How did you get into the Toastmasters?
That's a great question. Well, within my journey in recruiting, my first year I struggled, like with most sales type of jobs. And after my first year, no, I had some success. I shouldn't say I did have some success because if I would have totally struggled, they would have fired me. I had some success, but in my eyes, it wasn't the success that I wanted. So I have a personality that in anything I do, I want to try and get better.
Mm-hmm.
So I started signing up for these sales things that I was people had recommended to me, or people had or I've seen on YouTube or LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, and I signed up for this program, the sales program that cost me a pretty big penny. It was about like $500, but it was well worth it. And within that sales program, the guy recommended Toastmasters. And I never heard of Toastmasters. Like, what is that? There wasn't a Toastmaster at my university. I went to a small Christian school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I checked it out. I looked online and I saw there was one nearby. And I was like, let's check it out. And he recommended Toastmasters because he said the better you communicate, the better you'll be able to sell
Mm-hmm. True.
anything. And I said, you know what? I'll try it out. I went there for the first day, the as a guest the first time, and I wanted to speak, but I was scared to death, and I didn't speak. And afterwards, I was so bummed out that I didn't volunteer to speak because I went there specifically for that. So the next time I vowed, I was like, you know what? I'm going to the next meeting as a guest. I'm going to sign up and I'm going to speak. And I did it. I was nervous. I don't remember what I spoke about. I just remember being in front of the group of like 15, 20 people, and my mind being blanked, and I'm just trying to speak off the top of my head, and it was bad, but I loved it. I knew this was the place for me, and I kept coming ever since. 4 years and a half is going to be 5 in February.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I've been watching you for that long. But tell me, like, how this Toastmaster did help you in your job.
It didn't just help me in my job. It helped me in all phases of
Mhm.
my life,
Yeah.
everything.
Hmm.
First, when I came to Toastmasters, I still kind of had that little rough inner city talk, I
Hmm.
should say, and it still comes out sometimes, but I've been trying to clean
Hmm.
it up more and more. But I was rough around the edges with my communication style, and Toastmaster really cleaned that up. It also brought me around like-minded people,
Hmm.
people who generally want to succeed. And just from coming to the meetings and listening to everyone's stories and their speeches, I've learned so much competing. I've learned so much listening to all the stories and everyone's um, speeches that it's helped me first as a communicator. It's helped me as a leader. It's helped me be a better husband, a better father, a better person, because there's so many lessons that we learn within our Toastmasters community. It's not just about communication. It's about life in general. And I'm the type of person who, when someone is speaking, I listen intently and I try to learn from everyone. And I've learned so much. It's helped me so much. I don't know where I would be without Toastmasters. Honestly, it's taken me to a whole nother level in all of life.
Awesome. Oh, that's definitely it's a life changing, basically move you made it. But how would you suggest to this new generation that they should be doing this kind of activities rather than just sitting on Facebook and doing stupid things? But my point is, we have to encourage this new generation. How important is that? So, what kind of message you would like to give that generation?
Oof, that's that's a really tough question, and I have a quick story for that. Recently,
Hmm.
I tried to connect with 16, 17, 18-year-old kids.
Hmm.
It was a one of my old baseball programs slash coaches, and I had reached out because when the pandemic hit, they had canceled school, they had
Hmm.
canceled baseball for the season. And I know if I was a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid,
Hmm.
I would have been crushed. Baseball was my life. What am I going to do without baseball?
Hmm.
So I reached out to him like, hey, coach, I want to do something for the kids. I want to do a mastermind type of group where we essentially just go over life lessons and the keys to life as I see it.
Hmm.
And what I try to teach these kids is routine and specifically to get in productive habits. So we all as people have routines, certain routines. We wake up, we brush our teeth. We go to bed, we take a shower, et cetera, et cetera. We all have certain routines. We drink our coffee in the mornings,
Hmm.
et cetera, et cetera. And when the kids had baseball taken away from them, school taken away from them, everything, their whole routine was just thrown off. So my thing was just to help them get back into a routine and help them build productive habits within a productive morning routine and a productive nighttime routine. And it's simple little things. Simple as you wake up, instead of scrolling through your phone, you wake up and stretch. While you stretch, do a little meditation. Think about the things that you are grateful for, the things that the universe have provided you with that others don't have. So little things like that make a difference. And when you do it every day and you turn it into a productive habit, that makes a whole world a difference. So it took me 3 sessions, took me 3 hours to get that message in.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you have to be persistent with kids. But if you teach them that, hey, this can be life-changing, and you persist with it, then eventually it would you will hope it stick. It doesn't stick with everyone. You will hope it stick. And then once they get into those productive little habits, routines, you put in Toastmasters into it. It's not a huge commitment. It really isn't. It's just an hour and a half every 2 weeks. You telling me you don't have time for that? Right? So that's what I would teach them first, how to get productive habits into their life. And then I would add on to it, and then I would add communication on top of that, which I would recommend Toastmasters, because you can't beat it. It's essentially, I've broken it down. You're essentially paying like $3.50 per meeting. I mean, that's not, you can't even buy a cup of coffee at Starbucks for that. So
It is true. So tell me one thing you are proud of.
One thing I'm proud of. Honestly, I'm proud to be a dad.
Awesome.
I'm extremely, extremely proud to be a dad. I've always wanted to be a dad when I was young. I wasn't fortunate to have my dad. I've actually never met him in person before. Quick story, my dad, before I was born, my dad had gotten into some trouble. So he was with his brother. And are you okay with me going a little graphic?
No. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was inappropriate or not.
No, it's okay. Yeah, that's what we want to know.
Okay.
That's your story. Everybody love to know the story of successful people like you.
Yeah. So my dad, he was with his brother at the time, and his brother killed 2 people. Now, this is what my dad told me. And I believe him. My mom says the same thing. She believes him. Apparently, he wasn't the type of person to do it. So his brother killed 2 people, and my dad was there and helped him flee the scene. So there was witnesses that saw them too that were there. And immediately after that, my dad is originally from the Dominican Republic. So he and his brother flew to DR, and his brother stood in DR, but my dad decided to come back to the US. And when he did, they caught him, and he did 26 years in jail.
Wow.
He had 26 years in federal prison in New York, in upstate New York. And afterwards, they extradited him to his country, and now he can't come back to the US. But yeah, I didn't grow up with my dad because of that.
Wow.
Yeah, because he was in jail my entire life. And when he got out, he found me and my mom on Facebook and reached out that way. And that's how we've had a relationship. But I've never seen my dad in person, never shaked his hand. And so when I was young, I always thought, like, man, it'd be great to be a dad and just be there for my son. Just try to help him be the best person that he can be, mold him, support him in everything that he wants him, like what he wants to be, not push my agendas. The only thing I'm going to push is just grit, hard work. I'm not going to settle for less. But besides that, I'm just want to try to mold him to be the best person that he can be. And it's a challenge every day. He's a toddler, he's 2. It's a challenge, but I love it. It's something I'm very, very, very proud of.
It's an incredible story of yours. I mean, and everybody who's right now listening us and they are going to watch later on, it's really a great story to learn something out of that. Tell me one thing you have a regret for.
That's a good question. I have a regret of not working as hard as I could have in school and in baseball. And I think it's because I just didn't know any better. And for me to explain that, I wish I'd have known that these productive habits that I've learned now in life through Toastmasters and just trying to better myself as much as I can every day. But I've learned that productive habits, morning routines, nighttime routines, eating routines, all types of routines that are just productive. I know if I'd have known that, I would have implemented that when I was younger, and I would have been a better student. I would have been a better athlete, would have been a better baseball player. I probably would have played professional baseball because that was always my ultimate goal. But for me, I thought I was working hard. I thought, so for instance, when I went to practice baseball with my team, I was always one of the hardest working people in all of every practice that I was in. But when I went home, I didn't do anything. I sat on my butt and watched TV. And in high school, I can get away with waiting to do homework or waiting to study for exams. And I still was able to get A's, mostly A's and B's.
Wow.
But when I went to college, I had to learn the hard way that I couldn't do that. So I struggled at first. And because of that struggle, and I didn't know how to handle the life of a college athlete, and especially a student athlete. So it was a really, really tough adjustment for me. So I would kind of skip corners here and there. I was almost, so how I like to think of it, I was surviving instead of thriving. And I wish I'd have known that these productive habits, routines, if I'd have just stuck with them every day, it becomes who you are essentially. And I think that would have been a way better student, a way better athlete, a way better baseball player. But yeah, so that's my biggest regret. I didn't work as hard as I could have, and I didn't strive. I wasn't as successful as I wanted to be because I just didn't work hard enough. And I didn't have the proper routines in my life. I was distracted with certain things and people, and yeah, it's a regret, but it is what it is.
Okay, so where do you see in next 5 years yourself?
The next 5 years? Great question. Next 5 years, I see myself being a better dad, better person, better communicator, better husband. I just see myself being better. And that's how I approach life. Just try to take it one day at a time and try to better myself every day. And that's with reading, with communicating, with everything. So I just a better person, better overall.
So, do you read books?
Yes.
What kind of books you read?
I read, my favorite types of books are memoirs. Like I like books that tell a lot of stories. And this, so those are the type of books. But I like business books. I like leadership books. I like sports books.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, but particularly the books. I like books about education
Mm-hmm.
and books that tell a lot of stories when they're explaining certain things. Yeah.
So, can you recommend to our viewers at least couple books for their self-development, which you would like to recommend them?
So I just finished reading a book called Grit by
Oh,
Angela
wow.
Duckworth. Oh,
That's
amazing.
great book. Yeah.
Great book. Amazing book. She does a great job explaining grit
Mm-hmm.
and how it's developed, especially in kids, and how these Olympic athletes or all types of people
Mm-hmm.
have developed grit and how their parents help them, their environments help them. And it's a learned thing. It's not something that you just inherited. It's just not something that you're born with. It's something that you can develop. And she does a great job with telling stories and incorporating her ideas within the stories. It's a great read. It's a longer book, but it's well worth it. Another book that I'm thinking, I've read so many books. It's a book by John Gordon,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a leadership author, but
Mm-hmm.
he's more about positive leadership. And his book, I recently read. I read it about 3 4 months ago, and it's called The Carpenter.
Okay.
And that's a dynamic book, and that's more about business, also about life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great read. That's a book that you would probably read in 2 3 days. It's short. It's about, I think, 150 200 pages, but it's told all through stories, and they take you through a journey of a person who owns their own business, has a family, and his business is struggling, and he's overwhelmed with stress, and he meets this carpenter, but this carpenter helps him fix create something in his house, but also helps him fix himself in his life. It's a
Okay.
great book.
I love to read that. Yes, I will.
Yeah, John
So,
Gordon, great author.
I know very well, just for the sake of information to our viewers, that I know you won a lot of speaking contests during your Toastmaster journey, and I know you're definitely a rising star in that field. So, give like couple tips for the newcomers for the public speaking. What the better best tips you can suggest them?
Stories, and more stories. No, a tip of mine is one tip that I've learned, and you've actually told me this, Dr. Faz. Tell a story, make a point, tell a story. You should always tell a story with within your when you're giving a speech. It shouldn't always be statistics
Mhm.
or very informative. You want to, when you're speaking, you want to let people into who you are, into your heart, and try to convey your message with a story about you, or a story that something, an event that has happened to you. So stories are the foundation of speeches. They should be. Stories are key. The other thing is with vocal variety, it's something that many people strive for, and it's tough. It's tough to learn. I learned it just through repetition and just coming to Toastmasters and speaking as much as I can. One of the key things I've learned with vocal variety is it's not with voice level. Now it is with voice levels, high and low, but what I've noticed is the speed of which you speak is the key.
Correct.
So you can speak fast or speak slow, and that's the key to really powerful vocal variety. Speaking faster,
Hmm.
slower. So that's just two keys that I've learned over the years.
Okay, and what is your opinion about this post COVID-19 scenario?
My opinion of post COVID,
Yeah.
I don't know if I have an opinion yet, but
Mhm.
right now, my opinion on COVID right now is just to be safe, just to play it safe. And I think it's gonna pass. We're gonna find a vaccine or something to hopefully stop the virus from killing people. So I think it's better to play it safe than risk it, even if you're young. It's better to play it safe. I'm playing it safe also. I have that point of view is because my wife is pregnant. She's 7 months pregnant, and there
Oh.
isn't enough studies
Hmm.
to go on how COVID affects women who are pregnant or the children inside them.
Hmm.
So so I'm especially playing it safe because of that.
Hmm.
Now, if I didn't have any children, I was single, maybe it'd be different. I don't know, but I think it's better to play it safe. Better safe than sorry. Moving forward, I do think we eventually will get back to normal. I hope so. I don't want to wear a mask forever. I don't want to social distance forever.
Hmm.
I don't want to worry about being able to give a handshake to someone or giving someone a hug or a kiss on their cheek. They do that a lot in my culture.
But do you think the norms would be the same like we left in December?
I don't think it's. I'm not sure. I think there's the people who have dealt with COVID. I think there will be always something in the back of their mind. You always will have that scar tissue
Hmm.
moving forward in life.
Hmm.
But with time, I think things are going to get back to normal. I At least I hope so. I'm going to try to get back to normal as much as possible. Once they find a cure, or not a cure, a vaccine for it, I'm going to try to get back to as normal as possible. So that's just my thought.
Yeah, I think that we are not going to be the same, but because the norms will be quite different because of the lifestyle is going to change now
Yeah.
due to this digitalization and everybody is online and from virtual offices people are working. So hopefully it's going to be more influence. It's going to more influence in our lives uh, down the road. But I mean, it's good to be safe and sitting at home rather than getting out and getting hurt. So that's a great idea. So tell me a little bit your next, like a goal for your Toastmaster journey. What you're trying to achieve and accomplish from them?
That's a good question. I haven't thought that far. I my so I'm the type of person who tries to take things day by day. So I might compete next year. It depends.
Hmm.
I know this for sure. I plan on continuing my Toastmaster journey as long as possible. So that's for sure. I
Hmm.
plan on still continuing my Toastmaster journey. I plan on still speaking. I plan on still enhancing my ability to speak,
Hmm.
communicate. So I will continue for sure.
Hmm.
I have some speeches in mind if I want to compete next year.
Hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see how things go. I'm probably most likely going to compete because it's just I have kind of have that drive in me.
Oh,
We'll
that's great. Awesome. So Tell me, how can you help or assist other people in community with your expertise, and how they can reach you?
So how I can help other people in my community
Yeah,
with
it was anywhere, because everybody needs a mentor, everybody needs some guidance. So obviously, we have a lot of viewers who are watching us, and they wanted to get more information or more help or more assistance, and that's what we do as a Toastmaster, as a human being, as a leader, whatever you name it. That's
Mhm.
part of our duty.
Yeah.
So, how and what kind of assistance you can provide them, and what subjects you can assist them, like career wise, or you can advise anything, or how they can reach you too. So, because this is a totally a show about showcasing young leaders on my show, or from different aspects and different fields, so people can know them and they can reach them, and if they need any assistance or any guidance, so people can provide them. So give us a little bit.
So at first, you can reach me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is I'm highly active on LinkedIn
Hmm.
because it's a part of my job to be on there,
Hmm.
recruiting people for my company. So you can reach me there and through my name, Ramon Reyes,
Hmm.
and you can find me with my company name, IPS, Integrated Project Services. We're a global firm. We
Hmm.
have we have offices throughout the US, throughout Asia, throughout Europe. We have actually 3 offices in India. We have, yeah. So you can reach me on LinkedIn. That's the easiest way to reach me. What I can provide for people, I think, just a sense of purpose, or I think what I can provide people is a sense of how to get through certain things. Throughout my entire life since I was young, I've battled many. I've gone through many challenges throughout my entire life, and I've learned throughout all of these challenges since I was young. So it's just a quick story. When I was born, I was actually taken away from my mother
Hmm.
because she had a drug issue.
Hmm.
Yeah, she had a drug issue, and so I was put into foster care until I was 2 years old. And if you can imagine, it took my mom 2 years to get me back because she had to first get clean and she had to go through all these steps to get me. And it actually took her 2 years, and she stuck with it, and she got me. So that's which is awesome. But if you can imagine a 2-year-old kid getting
Hmm.
taken away from the only people that he knows, right? And I can still remember because my mom, like my godparents, which are my godparents now, they were my foster care parents. They wanted to adopt me because they had me since I was a little baby.
Hmm.
And can you imagine someone coming into your life after
Hmm.
so many years knowing this one family and then taking you away
Hmm.
from what you know? So every time, so my mom would drop me off, and even till I was like 5, 6, even 7 years old, she would drop me off to my godparents for the summer, and she would come back to me. Every time she would come back to me, I would like hide from her because I didn't want to go with my mom. I wanted to stay with my godmother. So that's just one of the many challenges that I've learned to deal with, and just I've learned. So what I can just teach people, provide, especially to people who are struggling. I can relate. I've struggled many years in my life, and I've figured out ways how to cope it and get out of it. So that's what I can provide people,
Oh,
essentially.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So now we are getting to the time. So it's the last minute. would you like to give a message to everyone around? And anything positive you would like to say, please feel free.
You putting me on the spot. But what I would like to say is we're all struggling. Well, we all probably struggle at one point in our journey through this pandemic. For me, when I first got the pandemic, I wasn't able to go to the gym. The gym was was my life essentially. And when that got taken away from me, I struggled mightily, big time. Uh, and I got to the point where after 2 weeks of not working out and fulfilling my morning routine with doing like my honeydew list, things I had to do around the house, et cetera, it didn't work for me. I was sluggish. I was kind of in a bad mood. My wife wasn't too happy with me. I don't think I was the best father. And finally, I just decided, I got to get back into my morning routine. I got to get back into my evening routine. I got to get back into reading. I have to try to mimic my life how it was before as much as possible. And I did that, and I've become myself again, my energetic, happy self. So what I want to tell everyone is we all at some point are going to struggle in our life, but what I've noticed is when I neglect the little things that I do on a daily basis, like for instance, when I'm drinking my coffee, I wash out my cup all the time and for the next day right away. But as something as small like as I just leave it in the sink to later that day to clean it, something as small as that can throw off my entire routine, and it can get me out of whack. So I've noticed every time that I've struggled in my life is because I wasn't in that productive routine habit that I had. I started neglecting the little things like that. So if you can just get back into being your best self, doing the little things that you used to do where you were striving, that would help you so much.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ramon. It was such a pleasure for having you tonight and our viewers and myself. Well, it was a fabulous story which you told about your journey, and God bless you. You are really a rising star, and people can see towards you. And I can say this way: tough time never lasts, tough people do.
That's right.
All right, viewers, thanks for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed the story of Ramon, and we'll try to get him again at some point in another show. So by now, because it's time, and I don't want to go a lot of overtime here, so that ruins our show's credibility. So we'll see you again with a new guest very soon. Stay tuned. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thanks, Dr. Fazz.
Thank,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
thank you.